Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Wealth and Wellness Report. I'm your host, Diego. Today, we've got Cassondra back on the show. Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be back.
Yeah. Since your last appearance, we talked a lot about health and wellness, your business, and what's been going on in your life. What's any updates to share?
I think I was just stepping into like a new chapter, and I feel like I'm just starting to fully live that life, that fulfillment. A few things that have changed. I just kind of went all in on my GLP-1 journey, which has been great as far as the content creating and connecting with people. I also left a salon that I didn't feel was aligned, and just kind of honoring myself in really living day to day with things that feel aligned, feel really good. And yeah.
So the GLP-1 journey you started not that long ago, right? It's like
32 weeks ago.
32 weeks ago. And how long's the program?
And it's just until you hit your like goal weight, or if you're experiencing any medical issues, until they're reversed.
Got you.
Yes. And then you go to maintenance.
Got it.
Yes.
You'll have to catch me up to speed because I don't remember exactly what the GLP-1 program entails. And certainly for the audience too, anybody who's on a GLP-1, could you talk a little bit about the program and what it does? And
yes.
Cool.
So actually it can be for
balance?
a lot of things.
Okay.
Originally it's for type 2 diabetes. They started with Ozempic and Wegovy was kind of the main. And then now they have compound. And so it's semaglutide, tirzepatide.
So insulin
Resistance, yes.
Gotcha.
Leveling out blood sugar.
Yeah.
And of course, weight loss, because they were seeing a lot of the scales of obesity, and when they were taking the medication, it was helping with the weight loss as well.
Got it.
So kind of just for everything. And also it's helping girls with PCOS, and it's helping women get pregnant.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So
because I know there's a lot of hormonal imbalance in women, you know, and I would love to learn why it's so prevalent, you know, especially in America. It seems like if you go to other countries or Europe, I don't hear stories like that.
Right.
know?
I feel like there's a lot in products, and it's a lot of environmental. A lot of hormone imbalance comes from switching up certain products in the house, or different makeup has really helped hormones as well. So
like makeup is probably a big one, because I would imagine there's like a lot of nasty stuff in that material. Like, and I read an article about nanotechnology and how nanotechnology is becoming like really like a big tool in the makeup to get it in like deep into your pores.
Yeah.
I can only imagine if that material gets into your, you know, into the cellular level, and then it, you know, begins to change the body's frequency and and balance.
Yeah. It's been really important to switch to clean makeup for myself and a few of my friends for sure. Also any type of nails or anything, your lotions and all of that. So I think it's
do you think there's a layer or like a component of addiction? Because I always wonder, so one example that comes to mind is like chapstick, you know, like you buy chapstick and then you use the chapstick and you're compelled to use it again and again and again and again. And it's almost like the chapstick is dehydrating your lips.
Absolutely.
And then you move to something natural like jojoba oil or coconut oil or, you know, like tallow, for instance, and it hydrates your skin and you don't have to use it so frequently. So I always wonder if like in these, you know, products that they're manufacturing some chemical component that gets you like wanting to put it on frequently.
I absolutely agree. I've been dealing with all the health issues, and it's purging out of my skin. So I started seeing someone that was letting me know that, you know, there's so much out there and you're just overloading. And actually sometimes it's just something simple. Like you're saying, like if something is dehydrating and it's going over, where you're thinking it's like, oh, I found this online, or it's a buzz because of someone selling it or whatever it is. Sometimes that simplicity of the oils or just a simple cleanser can really help. And it's really been helping me. So I think that goes also for me with like overcomplicating anything with health. I feel like I've been doing it for so long, you know, with my gut issues and all of that and taking all the supplements. And so the GLP-1, I was able to kind of just take away everything and then just do this medicine. And then obviously with just vitamins, you know, of course, but not having to do so much of like, oh, I saw this online or a cleanse or, you know, just consumer, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's everywhere. Like it's kind of ridiculous these days. So does anything, are there like side effects or is there, what generally happens when you jump on the program?
Yeah. So I have been on a GLP-1 tirzepatide for going on 33 weeks. And the first 12 weeks I had major fatigue and a lot of like waves of nausea. And then when I had gone onto TikTok and kind of asked how this all like started for as far as content creating, I had asked if what I was paying at a med spa was a normal price to pay. And so they kind of like flooded all of these messages of them being like, absolutely not. You're paying so much, like you could be getting this medicine from a online provider. And
because you were going to a doctor
and I was going to a med spa. So it was not really.
What is a med spa?
A med spa is like where you would go and get like Botox or.
Got you.
The thing is where I lived at the time, it was kind of a little taboo to talk about it. So there was a lot of people taking it, but they weren't saying that they were on it because it's this whole thing like, oh, well, it's the fast and the easy way out. But it isn't, because there's so much work you have to do. You have to make sure you get your protein. You have to make sure you get your water, your steps. And so when I was at the med spa, no one was really walking me through like what I'm supposed to be doing while I'm on it. It was just kind of like, here's your shot. Okay.
So
and
no real comprehensive program, food regimen, nothing like that. Interesting.
And so I ended up finding this huge TikTok community of people that had all this great advice that had worked for that. You know, everyone's body's different, but what worked for them and how much protein I'm supposed to get in, all these protein snacks. And it was like this whole world that I had no idea. So it helped my journey. And then I'm able to share with people to help them with their journey as well. The fatigue and the nausea when you're first starting, or like this feeling that, is this even working, or you're not seeing this scale move? I was on it for 12 to 13 weeks and I only saw 1 pound down. Some people take it and they'll lose 20 pounds in
a month.
So you're comparing, you know? So on TikTok, there's this community that we're able to say, do not compare your journey to somebody else's journey. This is just strictly for you. You will get there when your body. And then when I listened to that about the 13th week, it just clicked. And so from week about like 13 into maybe, so I was probably losing maybe 1 or 2 pounds and that was it. And then I'm now at 33 weeks and I'm down 23, which is considered slow for some, but they said there's no right or wrong way to do it as long as you're incorporating lifestyle, movement, protein, water.
Got you.
Yeah, which is a lot of how I got in this situation to begin with. Was not really doing the basics, waking up, having the food before the coffee. And so I think and then environmental stress and all of that. So
interesting. And so you said shots. So you administer it with a syringe and okay, got you.
So with a telehealth provider, they send it to your house and you're able to, they tell you the dosage you're supposed to do. And then you can pick, everyone is different of how it goes through, or they're seeing results through their body. The top of the belly button, below the belly button, sides, inner thigh, and the back of like the arm. And so I was able to see what worked for me as well, and kind of sometimes switching up so you're not plateauing. And
interesting.
Yes.
How has it impacted your day to day? So outside of like its impact to your body, but like your emotions, your physical well-being, like your schedule.
It is for the better, for sure. I have lost so much inflammation. I still have some, but when I before it started, I had 65 pounds of inflammation, just really intense. And so it's able to get rid of some of that inflammation. I can just move around a little bit more. I want to say freely, because I'm at the gym and I just don't feel so like trapped in a body that I can't really like touch my toes or do a yoga class. So it's helping with that. It mentally, because I'm able to see some stuff drop as far as the progress. It helps mentally feel, oh wow, I'm seeing this difference. And you remember, in almost 3 years, I haven't seen 1 pound drop on a scale. I just saw it going up. So now I'm just having this really like energized feeling. I'm feeling good. I'm, fueling the body. It's actually working. And then I think before the GLP-1, I just had no energy to do anything. So it's like I'm gaining that energy back.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So it's probably those huge mental gains have propelled your days, probably a lot of energy, and you're probably more productive.
Yes. On TikTok too, we talk about really focusing on the non-scale wins. It's easy because you do have to step on the scale every week, and some people do it every day, and that can sometimes really damage. So the non-scale wins, as far as I got, my amount of protein I was supposed to get in today, I went and did 10K steps of walking, or I woke up and I didn't say anything negative to myself. These are all like non-scale wins that a lot of people are sharing online. And when you're sharing, it's helping other people. I've gotten so many messages like, this today I couldn't wake up, but I saw this video of you, when going to the gym or outside walking, and it made me want to go and get my steps in.
So how has the community impacted your decision-making and how you feel in general on the program?
I feel really good. I feel supported. I feel like it's these people that I've never met in my whole life, and they have the kindest things to say. We're here to cheer each other on. We message each other on the videos that we create. We DM if there's any questions, because sometimes online, when you're starting the health journey, I realize that there's a lot of like professionals out there, or they think that, so it's a lot of information. And so everyone's body's different. So it's just kind of figuring out, this worked for this person. Is it going to work for me? Oh, I can try it. Or like, okay, they said that didn't work for them. All right. So maybe it's not going to work, so you're kind of just trial and erroring, but it doesn't feel like trial and erroring in the dark. It's like more like with a community of people just being like, wanting to help. And it's probably so much easier to make decisions and to feel supported, and community is everything. We talked about that quite a bit on the show. Absolutely.
How about your physical, so let me backtrack. So your physical, your mental, your emotional well-being is improving. You've got a community, you've got some community support. How about like in-person meetups, like people getting together, like in person, either at a community center or a library, or I don't know where you guys go to, or a wellness center. Are people getting together? So
it hasn't gotten that far yet, but I have talked to a couple of friends on TikTok where like, oh, if you're in the area, maybe we can meet up. But it's so wide of in different states too, depending on who you're following or who your friends are on TikTok. It's so spread out that I think it is a little bit harder to all meet up, but that would be really cool if there was. I'm sure there might be someone putting something on in the future. But I think a lot of us haven't really met each other, but it's cool to be able to still support without meeting anyone. I think it would be nice to get a community together, especially in this area. And I feel like here, it's more of people wanting to be honest and say that they're on it. And so I think right now people are they're starting to kind of slowly admit, and people knowing that it's okay to say like, I'm using this tool and it's a tool and it's not like the easy way out, and it's helping me for my health, or whether you want to lose the weight or whatever it is, and feel comfortable.
The TikTok and the online community is, also a level of accountability.
Yes.
To make sure everybody's, they're on their program and they're kind of following the regimen.
Yes. And I also think that people are feeling like slowly being able to open up. And I think TikTok is also so great about wanting that honest truth. And I think the people that aren't being honest and they aren't saying that they're on it, the TikTok's catching on. And, there's some people out there that are making money off of creating something and then not saying that they're on the GLP-1 to help. So people are catching on. So I think that it's opening up a bigger conversation and people are feeling. And
there's like a level of like you can monetize on this as well, right? Like you can, there's a level of economics that come to play on the program, right?
Right.
What's that like?
So if you're an affiliate with the provider, monetizing in the sense of, I think TikTok has this new, when they use monetize, I think it comes as a negative because people are making money off of, but
I don't think there's anything wrong with affiliates, right? Like,
totally.
Yeah.
Exactly. I just feel like there's a thing right now where
a
stigma because it is content creating and that's genuinely at the end of the day, you are building, your brand or all of that. So if people are building their brand and they're selling these products, it's hard for people to see what is authentic and what is not. So being an affiliate, I like it because instead of building a brand, I'm just sharing my journey and genuinely wanting to help people. And basically I work with them. I create the content. I, go on lives and I can speak and talk to people one-on-one, and then it's to help people sign up for it. And then obviously when you're an affiliate, you do get a payout of, whatever the contract is.
There's probably so many different programs out there with different organizations and different companies with their health and wellness programs. I mean, like that goes all the way back to the 80s with like Weight Watchers, right? Like you promote the Weight Watchers, you build a community. There's a level of economics that come into play there. So you've generated some wins.
Yes.
You're making progress.
Yes. So I started at the med spa, and then I actually someone had reached out to me. So I was working with a telehealth, and it wasn't working just because it was kind of just same as the med spa. It was just kind of here's the medicine, and then I was like, oh, I need a little bit something extra, and then I ended up working with somebody else, and it was really great. But I think right now you have to really be careful about who you're working with. And I think that's just in your whole life. When you feel like something's off, to really sit with that and know that your gut instinct is right. And so I wasn't really listening to my instincts, and I was just like, no, but this is the first time I'm trying it. And I knew that something was off. And because of that, I actually had a couple weeks where I had gotten one of the vials, and sometimes because they're trying to mass produce, there is either placebo or they're mixing it and diluting.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So you want to be really careful. So doing your research, and I think it comes with trial and error of just, being new. And this is the first time I've ever experiencing this, but it's nice to help other people, to let them know that it's really important to know where it's coming from, what's going on, what's in it, what you're putting in your body. And so I'm actually working with a new telehealth company, and it just seems a little bit more legit. It's taken more time. Like I haven't been able to take the medicine in about 9 days, but the way that everything is working, it's just to make sure that like 100% this is good for,
and you take it once a week?
Once a week. Yes.
So you had to change providers, or your GLP-1 source.
Yes. This is my third.
Your third. So where does somebody, like if somebody's looking for a GLP-1 provider and they're hoping to find somebody that's reputable, that has, like a good standing reputation, and that they provide what they say they're going to provide, where would somebody go? So
right now I have a TikTok, and I have right on the front of my page, they can click, and it's just, it has I've made it pretty easy to where you can just like figure out like on an Amazon storefront and know like these are all the things that you can take. So you just click and then it's super easy. There isn't anything like I'm trying to sell or it's just to be like, if you want to start a journey, this is a video of my journey. And then this is the telehealth that's helping me. And then these are the foods and these are the products that I'm using genuinely without making any money.
Yeah. Well, that's great to know because you've gone through the trial and error and somewhat of the gauntlet to like figure it out and to kind of trailblaze the way for others who are looking for good quality products and a good quality regimen. Your TikTok handle is?
It's Cass, CASS.RESSER.
Awesome.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. So people can go there to see you. What about your wellness awakening? There's been the GLP-1 journey, and then what about outside of the GLP-1? And
so outside of the GLP-1, I felt that I had a lot of things where because I was switching up the way I was thinking and the way my direction of my life was going, I think I wanted to hold on to everything, old friends. I want to hold on to old work situation, everything, and just have the control. And then when I decided to really dive in on the wellness journey, I was like, all right, I'm just going to surrender. And so I think a lot of that comes with, okay, I've been reading this book called Let Them by Mel Robbins. I read one that was like for the overthinker, and all of these things to help me use tools to realize that it's okay if all of this isn't working out and then greater things are happening, but you have to be aligned with it. You know, it's like I catch myself on like sometimes loops or dips. And it's just, I think that's what the health journey, when you're starting it, it's okay to have those as long as you get back on. And so I feel like with that, it was a lot of everything, just like when it came to who I was hanging out with, what I'm kind of feeding my brain, what I'm looking at, what am I reading. And so a lot of stuff is falling to the wayside. And it's really scary, but I haven't been scared in a really long time. But that's kind of where like mentally, all the things that have shifted. I think it's really important to say that if you are unhappy in a work environment or you are feeling like you are the biggest one in the room, and I don't mean like physically big, I mean just like you know, like your presence or like how you are, not to stay small and to really go find a new room. And that's kind of something that I had to do recently, of just moving my business, because I realized, okay, I've been in this situation for 3 years, and it kind of is, you know, it's not a bad thing to just go off and be growing. But if you're looking around and you're kind of feeling a certain way, I think it's important to figure out
how does somebody, I mean, it sounds easier said than done.
That's true.
You know, like what worked for you? Because there's usually like something horrible happens to somebody, you know, and then it's like, gosh, I hit rock bottom, and now I have to do something. But if you haven't hit rock bottom, and you're rotating through this kind of cycle of on and off, what would you recommend doing to help kind of jumpstart or restart that wellness journey? Yeah,
I think journaling everything of your life out and kind of putting almost like a pros and cons list of like, okay, what does my life look like and what do I want it to look like? And then mapping that out first. And then kind of checking in with yourself. When you walk into this building, how do you feel? How do people make you feel? And it's okay. And then there's this other thing where allow them to be who they are, everybody in your life, authentically be who they want to be. And then you get the option to decide who you interact with. And so I think that clicked for me, where it was like, oh, wow, I do have this power of knowing if I'm feeling a certain way, I don't have to always feel that way. And I think that really helped me, just knowing that, you know.
So continuously checking in with yourself.
Checking in, journaling. I think vision boards are huge. I do one every year, and I know you do them too.
I do them too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I think that was like where it started. And I would say that would probably just the check-ins, and just knowing that if you kind of want better, or if you're wanting something different, to just go in that direction. And I know it's hard to always do that. And like you said, it's easier said than done. But I think like advocating for yourself and not minimizing, you know, who you are, I think is huge. And as you start doing the self-work, it really does kind of just align.
Yeah.
And there's one thing that a friend had said, oh my gosh, what is it called? It was it's an app, and it is called To Be Magnetic. So I would, if anyone would just kind of start.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. So there's all these journal prompts, and it never ends. So it's continuous work. And then anytime you're feeling that, oh, I need a little extra, you just pick up the app and
get to work.
You get to work. Yeah.
Yeah. The work is the key. You got, and if you get really good at doing stuff that you don't want to do, then you'll be so much more productive, and you'll like start to work that muscle, you know, and it's like, just like going to the gym, right? Like you work on that muscle of doing the work that you don't want to do, that you know is good for you. And then over time, with your consistency, that begins to compound, and then you get really strong, and then you feel really good, like in alignment, super grounded, like in your best self.
Yes.
And then you can go tell others, and you can help others. Because I think the journey that you're on is, I think, a wonderful, beautiful journey that a lot of people are also going through the same journey, but not everybody is willing to go out of their comfort zone to get in front of the camera, to go on TikTok, to show the vulnerability, to tell people, like, this is my journey. These are the problems I've had. This is the triumphs I've had. You can do it too. And then get people inspired to do the same. That builds the community, right?
Right. And I feel that so deeply too, because I remember, you can watch on TikTok or anything that says, like, you know, like, get up and drink water and then do the steps and all of that. But if you mentally cannot physically get up, it's okay. But letting your body know that if it needs that rest, they always say, like, it's not depressed, it's deep rest.
Yes.
It's like giving that. When I had the panic attacks and I was in my, you know, bedroom, and I was feeling like days were just going by and I couldn't just function. I remember it was like, this is, my body has lacked all of this rest for years. So just sit with yourself and being quiet and kind of learning how to be bored, essentially.
Yeah. How has, like, I would imagine, like, entertainment, the television, you know, we talked about this on the show before. It's like, you can be, so distracted with Netflix, YouTube, you know, movies, you know, parties, all of that gets in the way of, like, finding your true self and being grounded in who you are and learning more about who you are on a daily basis. Cause I think it's a lifelong journey.
For sure.
You know, your 20s are going to be different than your 30s, and it goes on and on.
And it's not perfect.
And it's not perfect. And you have to be okay with saying it's not perfect. But you have to be okay with, like, kicking yourself in the butt a little bit.
Yes.
And getting you to go through some of the hardships that you're required to, because that's how diamonds are made, under pressure.
Right.
You got to like really get into that hardness and do it, like, through and through.
My life coach always says, like, you'll do it when you're sick of your own BS.
Yeah.
And it's like that, those are the times where, like, one day you'll just wake up and you're going to be like, I want to live a different life. And then that kind of, and then you find these really cool tools of, like, all right, books or podcasts or apps that I feel like, but I think that, you know, it's like, well, everything's happening for you, not against you. And so I think, like, for me, especially someone who definitely, I'm still trying to rewire my brain, but it was so conditioned at a young age, and it was so negative, and all these things that it had affected my whole, you know, 20s into 30s. And so recently I've just been like, you know what, I have a choice and I'm just willing to change. And I know even if it's not perfect and there's dips and all of that, as long as I'm getting the momentum and I'm just going and I'm doing the best I can and changing, like, what I can actually control, which is myself, then I think, you know. So
you left Swan and you chose alignment.
Yes.
What are you doing now with your craft? Did you open something up here? Or how's that going?
Yes. So because I took the leap, and it was really interesting because I opened up my journal and it said, leap and the net will appear, which I probably had wrote maybe like
leap and
the net will appear.
The net?
Yes. Leap and the net will appear.
So the net being like
you know, to hold you, you know. Leap and something will catch, you know,
you'll catch something. Got you. Okay. Yep.
And I had wrote that, I don't even know when, but the other day I'd flipped through and I just decided I'm pushing this off and I'm resisting it because it's something that I need to do. Mm-hmm. And so when I finally did it, it showed me the alignment of once I went to a different, so basically I stopped working at that salon and I had messaged a friend that opened a salon in another area, and I asked, and it was still in LA, and I asked her, hey, is there any way I have this clientele and I can come, and you used to be a mentor for me years ago? And she was like, absolutely. And then she let me know that someone was working there also has a salon in San Francisco. Well, I wasn't looking for a salon in San Francisco, but I had just moved to San Francisco. So now I'm able to do LA and San Francisco because I just made the move of basically just one day deciding, all right, I'm going to make the phone call. I'm going to do the things, even though I was resisting it.
Yeah. Wow. And it just aligned. And then all of a sudden the gold showed up. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Like you really get into stuff that you really are like resisting, mm-hmm. and then you get yourself through that wall, mm-hmm. and then all of this gold is on the other side of the wall.
Yes.
It's like one of the most beautiful things mm-hmm. of life. I've learned that so many times because I too have been in my own way. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to do this. I want to stay comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't want to stop. I want to just be, in this particular location mm-hmm. and this particular space. Mm-hmm. And I want to just be comfortable. But you get out of that comfort zone and then you start working that discomfort mm-hmm. into alchemy. Mm-hmm. And then it becomes and transforms something that you've always wanted to like experience or see or have in your life. Right. It's just like everybody, y'all, you got to like do the work. Like whatever it is that you're mm-hmm. doing that you're resisting, just fucking do it.
Yeah.
Please. Yeah. And you'll see that it's going to manifest magic mm-hmm. because the work that you're avoiding is the magic. Like you got to get in there and do the work.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask you, because I feel like you have really, obviously not perfected, but you have really like been able to incorporate that in your life. And maybe times where you felt like you were going like this and now it's more like this, like maybe for my followers, like what do you feel like helped you as far as getting from the resistance to getting to basically make it routine?
I've learned that I wanted it more than anything else in my life. Like if I want something, if I want to experience something, if I want to have something, whatever it is, a mindset, a goal, anything in life, like I've learned that if I don't want it, or if I want it that bad, I'm going to have to work for it. Like it's just not going to happen if I don't work for it. And I've learned that because I've wanted it so bad, then I just have to do the work. And it was like almost a test where I had to test the theory. It's like, okay, everybody's talking about this, it's like, you got to do the work and manifestation and like all the things. And then I started like doing a little bit of it and then got the feedback loop and like little things started to sprout. And it's like, because I'm such a fan of nature's healing capabilities, its intelligence. Like I've always gone back to nature as like a guide. So whether it's a hike or, walk on the beach or whatever, there's always like some sort of inspiration that I get. Yeah. So, I've just taken that inspiration and then applied small actions over time. And like just sat back and watched like, okay, like no expectations. It's, if it works, great. If it doesn't, fine. Right. But I'm going to do the work. And because I've never really done the work, like I'll say I'll do a little bit here and a little bit there, but never really got like deep into it. Yeah. And the deeper I got, the more gold I found. So then now it's like, there's no other way but the way. Yeah. And that is work. Did you feel like you read a certain like book or you got, I think like that's a great question. Cause a lot of it just has been this, like what you had said, this internal check-in, like this constant introspection on who I am and what I want out of this life. And you know, your vibe attracts your tribe. So like, of course, there's going to be these externals that come in that inspire you, that get you equipped, that teach you and educate you in new ways and new tactics and new strategies. And yeah, there was and it's still to this day, like I think of mentorship as being so important in the development of my craft, but also like myself as a human being and learning from people that have like charged and paved and have learned and have gone through the gauntlet. So it's I think a holistic approach to life. You know, you learn. It's like, I mean, a lot of it's like monkey see, monkey do. Yeah. You know, these people are doing these amazing things. Like, how did you do that? And the curiosity and the questioning and the intention and the willingfulness to show up in those rooms is, I think, what like was the catalyst for me. And then I got in and it was like, oh my God, I need more of this. And I'm obsessive when it comes to stuff that I really want and I really want to create in my life, not only for my friends, my family, my community, my businesses. I'm just like, I'm all in. I just take all those chips and I put them in the middle because you can't lose what you don't put in the middle, but you can't win either. And for me, I'm just like, this is it. Yeah. And so I think the daily action, you build a habit, you build a regiment, you build this craft. And then every day it's like going to school. You show up, you go to the pencil sharpener and you sharpen that pencil and then you get to work. Right. Yeah. That's been, I think, a huge, you know, just a huge part of it all for me. Because
on TikTok in the health community of a GLP-1 as well, I feel like a lot of people are trying to get balance, and you can drink on a GLP-1, but it's actually helping people who maybe were heavy drinkers not drink anymore. But now I think even just that little bit, for some of my followers, they're having a little bit of a hard time of that balance of like, I know this, my body's not feeling good when I'm doing this, but like, why am I not stopping? Because this is fun, you know, like so I feel like that's a huge, things too, that I feel like a lot of my followers are just trying to find like this like balance of like being able to have fun, but not going overboard with food or drinks or going out or, you know, any of that kind of thing, which I feel.
That's hard when you're starting off. I think for me, well, at least what worked for me is like, you know, I'm not trying to slay the dragon. Right. I'm trying to avoid the dragon. So if I can't stop smoking weed, I can't be around it. Right. For a majority of my day to day, for the foreseeable future, it needs to be gone. Alcohol too. Like I got to be completely like out. It has to be out of my environment. Got it. Because if it's not, then, you know, there's this temptation that comes into play for me. And I've learned in order for me to like really get to where I want to be, like I've got a clean slate. I got to remove all of those temptations and I've got to really dig into the simplicity of my craft and my goal. And then, you know, once I get to a point with that journey, like, and I'm like hardened and, you know, I'm confident that no matter what happens in the day, like I'm not gonna shift. I'm not gonna falter. I'm not gonna move. So then sure, like friends come around and, you know, they'll have drinks and stuff. And to me, it's like, cool. Yeah. I'm not going to have one because I know how I feel when I have one.
Yeah.
And
you know how great you feel.
Yeah. And I feel so good that like, why would I do that to myself? Right. So it's gotten to that point, but like for those who are starting off that are trying to like really like what you said, create a balance, like you have to harmonize your day to day and integrate, you know, the things that are positive, focus on those, eliminate all the negatives, and then, you know, do the work every little, you know, like it could be 20 minutes, like a walk, 20 minutes a day. You do that for 365 days. It's better than going 9-hour walk for just one day, you know?
So almost like releasing the stressors that are there. I feel like when you're doing like the walks or I've been trying to say that a lot on my TikTok, that these day-to-day habits that are releasing a lot of stress. And I think for me, at least, anytime that I'm wanting to like let loose or anything, it's because I'm very stressed. And so it's not a good way to think or, be, I know. So it's like,
boundaries. Boundaries
have been really high on the list lately.
And saying no, so like the older I get, the more I'm learning that saying no is better for me than saying yes. Because when I was younger, I'm yes to everything.
Oh my gosh, same.
Like I want to experience it. I want to say yes.
Like people pleasing.
Take on new projects, take on new clients that I know I probably shouldn't have, but I'm just like, yes, yes, yes.
I think also too, back then it was like you had to be the yes person, or it was like hard to get, and now I feel like because even I feel like conditioned of yes, yes, yes. I had never said no. And then that's why I'm learning now, being able to be like, no, I love you, but I don't want to do that. Or no, I don't agree. Or no, it's been really uncomfortable. Like I will say or do the thing, and then I actually cry after. And I think it's because it's that pent up, like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen if I say no? But it gets easier, obviously, as you're doing more.
The people pleasing. And, like you get to a point, I think, as a business owner, that you stop feeling like the people pleaser, and you're here to serve. Now, those, and granted, your services might not be for everybody, and that's totally okay. Like, how have you created boundaries around your business to like really not only harmonize your energies and like as somebody who's, because it's like when I think of the salon, I think of beauticians, and I think of masseuses and chiropractors. They're giving so much, like that's a big energy suck. Like how do you create the boundary in your world and with your craft?
So for me, early on, I got a life coach really early on. She was actually my boss in hair. So it kind of went hand in hand.
Awesome.
It was awesome. As far as like knowing your worth, but knowing, for me, I do give a lot of energy to my clients. They tell me a lot. We chat. So I'm working with my hands. I'm also with my brain, and then I'm also on my feet. So, for me, that's just, I feel like very empathic. I like love to chat. So I feel like with my clients, they're like more than clients, with like obviously professionalism for sure. But for me, it's all about, that's why it's important around me for everything to just be aligned, because in my clientele, it's just like they might be going through something or all of that. I'm 100% giving them, giving. So like it's important around me at work that if there's extra stuff over here and there, I have to be like, okay, how am I feeling when I'm having to give? And then maybe something in my business, who I'm around isn't helping me in my business, because if I'm feeling a certain way, or if I'm, I can't go and give my clients my everything, and my all. So I feel like, I do that. I go home, I like Palo Santo, I cleanse, I always get in the shower after. And I feel like that's how I think why my business has been so successful is because like going in and really giving 100%, and even having the boundaries too. If I can't do that thing, not saying yes, which is funny because in business I can say no all day. More like personal life is like having the issue, but like in business it's like, yes, I've early on was shown that if you can't do it, just give it to someone that would be a better fit. You don't have to take everyone, and the client will be happier and you will be happier.
So by creating boundaries, you're creating a stronger business and probably a lot better content too, or a lot better service, I would imagine.
Absolutely.
Where you can show up 100% all day long.
Yes.
Are you also on, are you creating content for your salon business online?
I have so much
referral based mostly.
Yeah, it's mostly referral. I have so much, years of the content. So it kind of like the portfolio kind of shows. So cool. I don't have to put too much content on there. I think that, it's just like my 3 years of building the business. It's kind of just referrals or,
Do you have an Instagram or a TikTok page?
Yes, I have an Instagram. It's called Hello, Can You Hear Me?
That's awesome.
And yes, I'll probably start posting a little bit more too. I just feel like I was getting these little like lulls of, when you're really into it and it's 100%, the time flies by and then you're like, oh, I didn't take the picture. You're like, oh, I didn't, because it's a little bit hard when it's different when it's content creating for, the health of a GLP-1. But when I'm using my hands and then I'm talking with my client, it's hard to get a camera out, little things that you don't get as much content. But I feel like I've been able to build 3 years of a good amount of like content and really
that's awesome.
Submerging into it.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years. That's a good question. In 5 years, I see myself probably veering a little bit out of hair. It's something that maybe I will do because I do love beauty, but I feel like I really am in this space where I want to like help people. And I feel like I do have energetically the momentum and the space and the empathy. So in 5 years, I would love to, I was actually funny. I wanted to do a podcast for the longest time. So we're doing this now, which is great. Writing a book, telling a story. I've been through a lot in my life. And so if my story can help other people, I would love to work with charities or any of women that have dealt with domestic violence. So just kind of nonprofit, having an assistant, being part of something bigger than what I've been doing for sure.
And is that in San Francisco Bay Area or do you know?
I'm not really, I feel like, we'll probably, I kind of not really ever stuck on in one place. Which I'm trying to figure out how to plant more like roots because I feel like that always makes things a little bit more calm. But I feel like wherever that ends up taking me, I've always been kind of like open to, okay, if this is how I'm feeling and wherever, I've never been like, I have to do this here.
Yeah. Cool. What would you say to our female audience? What message or what sort of content would you like to share in terms of the health and wellness journey?
Spreading a lot of positivity and being there for women who are dealing with anything that has to do with any weight issues. I feel like that is huge for me, and helping people feel like their best, whether it's like sharing something with hair, sharing something with what I've gone through or any of that, like glow up tricks or any of like the GLP-1. Like I feel like just more like women supporting women, because sometimes I feel like that isn't really the case in certain scenarios. So kind of just sticking to that and feeling really good to like help. What
would you tell those that are afraid to start their glow up journey? How can they get started if they're apprehensive or feeling a little afraid?
Yeah, that's a good question. For someone that wanted to start their wellness journey, I would say just go for it. I would say just figuring out what you want. I think sometimes that's hard to figure out. Get a Pinterest board of what do you just type in some things that you really like, or things that, who do you want to be? What do you want to wake up? What do you want to look like? Who do you want to be around? I think really looking at it as a whole of not just getting the steps in, but the self-care I feel like is so huge. As I'm going through this as well, it's you do end up, as you start, I don't know, when you start fixing internally, you look better on the outside. And so I think you can look up, how do I glow up by summer, but really internally glowing up, I think just figuring out what do you want? What do you like? What do you want your day-to-day to look like? I feel like that's huge, because for me, that was something that I definitely did. It was just kind of got me kickstarted.
Yeah.
Pinterest is a little bit more, I think, it inspires more because it's not you're not watching people's lives. You're kind of just like, it's like a universe of like, I can pick anything out on this vision board and I can type in whatever and you can just create. And sometimes I feel like by looking at that every day, you're like, oh, I can have this. Oh, okay. And then,
what you focus on enhances 100%.
Yeah.
So I think that's great advice.
Yeah.
Like having something, if you're looking to accomplish something or you're working on something, to see it every day, to feel it every day, and eventually it manifests because you're putting so much energy into it. How's your TikTok business has been going?
It's good.
Yeah,
it's really good. Yeah,
getting a lot of viewership. And
I feel like
that's awesome.
Definitely picking up for sure. I feel like because
TikTok is a whole nother animal when it comes to social media, right?
Absolutely, and trying to figure out what you post and all that. And that's something lately I've just been like, every day I'm just put the content out. Don't make it so perfect. Maybe don't try to focus on like numbers. It's like just whoever you have at your audience in that moment, talk to them, and just do things that are like feeling good. And I think, it's been like probably recently the most that I've, they say like content creating or thinking of ideas sometimes is hard. And so I think like just real raw footage. A lot of my clients a lot of my followers have been really liking just what I'm feeling out there mixed with like shot day or whatever it is. Yeah.
And you post every day?
Yes. So I have been really good about posting every day, but I haven't gotten the medication. So I've had like 4 days off and 2 days off here and there. But that shows that ebb and flow of like, it's not going to be perfect. I started in January and this is the most I've ever posted on TikTok. So I'm like, that's a win. And if I try to post every day, but if I can't, I'll try to, maybe do 3 in the next day but
just to kind of keep up with
but no like week long breaks or like month long breaks, just because just interacting is so important to help people that like, if someone's saying they don't know where to start with their wellness journey, maybe that one video that I create is going to make someone get up and do something that day. Or maybe that one video is going to change someone's mindset. Oh, I saw this before and after of what this girl, was looking like and how she was feeling to where she's feeling like now. And those ones really get me too, where I like see like, whoa, like, but it takes so much work. And so I think like making sure you don't want to make it perfect or you're thinking it needs to look a certain way or all of that. I think the perfectionism sometimes or watching it too much. You're like, shoot.
And I would imagine that would also kind of paralyze people, like,
and then you
oh
get
my
doom
God,
scroll.
like, and then you doom scroll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why lately it's been more important to not create content that's making anyone, this like perfect background. And like, I don't even do a lot of content like in my house, like not in the house. I do a lot outside because everyone can go outside. You know what I mean? Everyone has access to maybe a park or, all of that. And then I get and I just feel like my followers connect more to that. And it doesn't feel like they're going to feel a certain way, if that like makes any sense.
No, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's more than just the GLP-1. It's kind of like day in the life. What comes up, what's natural and organic. And then just capture that. Quick
meals. If you're a girl that's very busy and you are thinking, oh my gosh, I really wish I was at home being able to prep all my meals, but I can't. What can I do that'll be quick and fast? And then these are, all these protein options. So you're getting it in and you're able to take care of yourself and still maybe be a working woman, or you have kids and you don't have as much time to sit there and maybe prep a wrap,
So for those who are trying to gain viewership and expand their business on TikTok, what are some really specific strategies or tactics that you can do on the platform to generate a lot of viewership and interest and followers?
Yes. So right now, because everyone is wanting to create content, which is great.
And
they're
saturated.
changing this algorithm.
TikTok.
It's something I'm not able to figure out. Yeah, it's something way different than Instagram, than any other thing I've ever experienced. I think it's important to invest in yourself and invest in your page. So if you're feeling like there is a lot of information, I feel like I can make a difference, I think it is important. You're not buying followers, you're not doing anything, but pushing your own content, I think is huge, because it's only showing you to a little, and like, think about all the people in like the United States that you want to get it out, you want to reach other people in other states. And so I think by investing and knowing that like, oh, well, I don't want to pay, or, you know, whatever it is that is holding you back, just throwing a little bit, whether it's $10, $20 towards it, just so that people are starting to be able to like see you. Cause the whole thing is, some people are scared to be seen. And so, or like, oh my gosh, is this going to like people on my phone? Or is this going criticism? Or is a family member going to see? And it's like, you want to almost push it just like further than like your hometown, you know?
Totally.
So I think that's really important. I think knowing that every day, the content doesn't need to be perfect, like I had said. And then I feel like, the strategy is, TikTok has no strategy, and I will put a video up and it will be with like, you know, maybe a little pimple cream, hair in a bun and like pajamas, and it goes
and hits.
Yeah. And then I'll do one that's like very aesthetic, and I'll like make makeup and all that, and then nothing. So I think like it just has to see your work and make sure that you're putting the work in, and then it just decides one day like, okay, it's a very interesting platform. But you know, I do like that, because I feel like if it's this thing that you can master and you're just doing it at, you know, sometimes I've heard from a lot of my people I follow that have a huge following that building the TikTok is actually the best part, because sometimes when you're getting into the millions, you're hard because you can't interact with everyone, because it's so
much.
Yeah. So like they say like, wow, like having a smaller audience, they remember it just being like really like good, like one-on-one quality.
Interesting. Yeah. I learned also that on TikTok, when you get like a DM or a message for somebody, it's always good to, well, it's always good to respond and reply to anybody that reaches out. But like if you respond or reply with a video instead of just a written direct message, that also helps the algorithm and your engagement numbers.
They want to see you using all the tools, the stories.
That makes sense.
So you're, you know, I think that there's so much to it that I'm still trying to figure out. I'm so new, so I'm like not an expert like at all, but I'm just kind of taking it day by day and seeing like, okay, if this works, what doesn't, you know, just kind of feel like with everything, like try it all, put it all out there, put 100% in, and
100%,
you're showing up, and then things will, you know, click. They always just say you just need one video. That's all you need.
That's what I hear too. And then it's, I think there was a comment from Gary Vee, who I very much admire and follow.
Oh my gosh,
He's really good on social media, how, you know, you can have 1 million viewers or 1 million followers, and shoot out a piece of content and it doesn't really hit, but then you just literally signed up today on TikTok and you put in something creative and it'll hit like 100 million times more than what he had put out, which essentially it's a level playing field at that point, right?
Yeah. He helped me a lot at the beginning, because I remember like I was thinking, oh, this has to look a certain way. I don't want to do it, and there's no lighting or whatever. And he was like, who cares? Just turn it on and just have something to say and just help, you know?
Yeah.
And then value for sure. Yeah. And I think the creativity part too. I mean, I think there's like, they say like influencers and there's content creators. So it's either doing something to influence or you're creating something, the content that it, you know, so it's sometimes a little bit different.
People want to be educated, entertained, or, you know, they want to, you know,
short span too.
Super short span.
Yeah. Like you better hit within
7
that 2
seconds, right?
2 seconds of like, hey, I got something to tell you. Okay. Got your attention. Okay. These are the things, you know, it's, absolutely.
It's such a whole world. So different than it was like 10 years ago.
I know.
Well, this has been great. I mean, this has been real talk on weight loss, TikTok, and reclaimed energy. Really appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
Is there anything else that you want to share?
I think that was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, everybody. Another amazing episode of the Wealth and Wellness Report. You know, just everyday people talking about everyday things. If you do like the show, please hit the subscribe button below, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks.